What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Sunday live streams. Point of these streams is I tinker with something, but I try my best to answer questions as much as possible. So I may not get as much work done, but I try and get to as many questions and topics as possible. So today I've got a VS4-10 Ultra previously on the bench. This is the MST. What is this body called? I don't know. It's whatever their FJ body is called with the cage. Doesn't really matter. But this is what's being swapped onto this Ultra. So this body is crazy heavy, like absolutely crazy heavy. And I'm gonna do some work to lighten this cage, and that's later. But I'll get to that. However, what was different about this Ultra now is that while it does have the portal rear, it has a straight axle front. This is something I had done on my personal one, and this is not my personal truck. I had done this conversion for a friend, Rob, a little while ago. And so, you've got to do some machining and modification to the rear third member, as well as make new rear upper links. And that works out pretty well. You got to do some gearing adjustment. I've done a video all specifically on that, but it doesn't really matter. That's not the point of today's video. Today, what I'm going to do is install the titanium link set on this. And while I'm at it, I was going to throw on the Vanquish aluminum rod ends. So these are like an adjustable rod end similar to the trailing arms we have. So it's not like a normal aluminum rod end that wears out. You can actually adjust these and they stay in good shape over time. So I figured that would be something fun to tinker with today. Also, Rob wanted to put in an axe system instead of the RX4 in 3100. This one was just a little on the fast side for him, and he just likes the axe system better, which some people do. So I'm taking out the RX4 3100 and putting in an axe, but that likely will not have time for today. So that's for another time. So there you go. Thanks everybody for checking in. It's an MST botter. It's a letter and a number, number. I know. It's not the JP1, that's the Jeep right there. And I don't know, doesn't matter. So yes, these are going to be some fancy links, as Alex says. Now I'm using the Ultra kit. There's an Ultra and a Pro kit. Now this has one axle from each, but the difference between them is actually the rear lower links specifically. On the Pro kit, there's a little bit of up pinion angle. And on the Ultra, if you keep that up pinion angle, then it rotates the portal boxes forward and shortens the wheelbase effectively. So we extended the rear lower links to get those portals basically perfectly vertical. That way you don't have that wheelbase loss. So that's the deal. Hey, what's going on, Alan? Yes, I am still in Cali. I am here for the long haul. All right. Josh, you want to have time with that kind of attitude? Does chat need to go all drill sergeant? Yeah, right. You see, I get distracted easily by comments. So all the titanium. Now, the titanium that we use for these links is 3/16 versus the 1/4 inch that comes on the Ultra and Pro. So they're a little bit smaller. They're also much lighter. The stainless is much lighter. What t-shirt are you wearing? Somebody sent me this t-shirt because everyone always says that shelf is crooked, which it's not. It is perfectly level. So somebody made me this shirt and sent it to me. Thought it was funny. So, is there a titanium link setup for an axle mounted setup? Thinking Ripper. Ooh, that's a good. So let's see. There is not. I'm trying to think of what the difference. Now there'd be you could use the Pro, but you would need the two front upper links and the drag link. So, yeah, it wouldn't be super easy. I'm going to send you a video of Dave Cole's house. He has an awesome RC course you need to go hang out with. Where is Dave Cole at? Is he in Northern California? I'm in Northern California. So I don't know where he's at. Oh, also, I've got these are the Traxxas GTR shocks that are on here. They've got a super wide pivot ball in top, but if you pop those out, you can actually snap in the Vanquish or the Incision, more exactly, brass pivot balls for the Incision shocks are the exact same. So they pop in, and then these shocks just drop right in. Now, I don't have a spring on these currently. They will get a spring eventually. I just have it set up and sitting in droop at the moment, which I do not like. So Temecula. Yeah, okay, so that is SoCal, I think. I'm terrible with California places. Like I just don't know like all the little suburb towns and stuff like that, but all right, let's organize these links so that I can. Okay, so those are the front or the rear uppers and lowers. Here is the front lowers, single front upper, panhard drag link, and tie rod. So let's see if my overhead cam is working. Hey, it is. It's a Christmas miracle. So I'll zoom in so I can show you these rod ends because they're pretty cool. There's several parts and pieces to them. They're not the simplest rod end you'll ever assemble, but they're kind of cool. So, pivot ball, of course, that makes total sense to everybody already, right? Now, what is the other part is this tiny brass piece here. See that? So it's got a cup on one side to match the ball. And then on the back side, it has a cammed design. So what you do, let's get our tools. So we're going to drop in the pivot ball like you would expect. Then the brass piece goes with the cup side in the bore. Okay. So now you can push that down. Once it's in position, oops, set screw, not the brass piece. So then the set screw goes in from the side and it twists that cam on the back side of that brass piece. And as it twists it, it pushes in. So basically the amount of tension you set onto the set screw is the amount of tension that you get on your rod end. So that's the deal. And these come in black and clear, obviously. Now I didn't put any Loctite on that one. I'm going to do that because it's a good practice. I'm not going to put a ton though, just because if you're using tiny screws, tiny drivers, and you overuse Loctite, you will snap drivers off. So, and this is a tiny driver. So this is a 2.5 millimeter set screw that uses an 050 driver. So a little bit of tension. Now I set these just a little tight at first because they are going to wear in. Both the brass piece and the aluminum will wear in, but like after a run or so. And then they're just like almost perfectly smooth and there's no slop. And then if there is ever slop, which really I haven't adjusted the ones on my other rig since I put them in, they're stay perfect. But then if you do ever need to adjust, you just give it another eighth of a turn and it'll tighten everything up. So they're just crazy strong and beefy. The other nice thing is that they're threaded, for M4. So you just take them and spin them in. So you don't have to use, the rod end tools and all the other stuff. One other thing is that when it's in the vehicle, since those are perfectly threaded, if these things ever do, you know, like need to move or pivot just a little bit on the link shaft just to make the suspension smoother, it's just it just does it, and it's just everything is nice and butter smooth. So little things. Obviously, this type of link shaft isn't needed for everybody, but I specifically, like when we were first testing them, I was running them on the links that I was stretching the most, which for me is my upper front link on a portal rig. Let's see. Okay. You do have to get these aligned just a little bit so that the set screw hits the proper area. It's not that hard. And that's it. But anyway, I put them on any spot where I was stretching links more often, and it's just just instantly fixes some of those issues. Now, the argument is always, you want to have a fused link. Link rod ends are cheap, easy to replace, easy to fix. Easy to fix on the trail, and that is a completely legitimate argument and something that is absolutely a way to go for a lot of people. I honestly just don't break stuff on the trail that much anymore. Like once everything's kind of beefed up, it's just like fuse links are good, but I don't have them. I don't I don't have anything that's my spur gear technically, I guess, but I just so these rod ends we've had these out for like a year. Obviously they're not for everybody, but so I know a lot of people hadn't seen these before. But these have been out for a long time. The titanium links are new. We released those maybe a month ago, maybe a little less. So, have you seen the drag slash transmission yet? Yes, I did. I did see that. It looks like a new slash transmission, I guess. I mean, I'm sure it will be fine. I'm sure it will be good, but I don't know that it's like, okay, there was the thing I was waiting for on the Traxxas drag slash. I'm like, okay, well that's not it. What's the next thing? So I don't know. We'll see. I'm still looking forward to the release of the drag slash, of course, but that wasn't the one piece I was looking forward to the most. That I was, hoping that was going to be their innovative, engineered to win design function. So again, light on the Loctite. So why are MST RTRs so cheap right now? Mainly because nobody buys them. Oh, I didn't have that in far enough. There we go. Honestly, the MSTs are just. Oh, I don't know about if you're only talking about the scale trucks. I should say. I'm sure that their drift cars sell pretty well, but their trail trucks are just no bueno. I've owned them all, but I mean not every body style RTR, but I've owned their actual like the kits and put them together, and it's just like, eh. So hub carriers and other parts are the same on the drag slash. They haven't posted. We still don't know. They've put out the smallest amount of info at a time. Did I grab the wrong link? I did. That's an upper. Okay. I was trying to keep these together. Okay. Oh well. It's because I'm not paying attention. My wife and I are on the wait list for a black spotted gold Cheeto like Suki and Chief. FYI, that is their color pattern. Copper can't. I think you had sent me a message. It was fun to talk. Fun to talk about it. So I did find out one thing. If you ever see Chief and Suki together, Suki is that gold spotted color. However, Chief is clouded bangle. But it's hard to tell, really, the difference unless they're next to each other because I did not know that there was a difference until Nicole told me. So, but Chief is a little bit more gray, although he has more rosetting. Cat talk. But I'm stoked to see. Hope and you getting it from the same place as Suki and Chief, so you'll have to keep us updated. Send us pictures. Oh, rotated. MST is hot in the drift scene, but not as hot in others. Yeah, that's the thing. They just, I just not, you know, you would have thought that they could have got the scale side down. I mean, they have the scale part of it down. They make beautiful bodies, high quality, especially. They're so nice, but their trucks just not, you know. Traxxas has overhyped it so much that now, unless it prints money, I think we're underwhelming no matter what they do. I don't disagree with that. Unfortunately. Dana, are the metal rod-ends not available right now? Yeah, they should all be available. They're black and clear. What are these part numbers like? God, 80. 8500 VPS 08500 and 8501. The clear would be 8501, black would be 8500. So there you go. So this is a lower, that's an upper. Oh, I have them right here. I guess I could have just, yes, 8501. I was right. I passed my own quiz that nobody cares about. Morning from Greenville, CA. There's a Greenville, California? I was unaware. Where's that at? Geography time. I know our bags have zippers, but I didn't have time for that. I just wonder if the drag shafts will be closer in price to the slash 4x4 or the X01. I guess, I mean, that really probably, I have to imagine closer to the 4x4 than the X01. The X01 was expensive. I think it's going to come down to what kind of power system they put in, really, but I can't imagine Traxxas going too crazy with a power system. So, I mean, they don't really have anything that crazy. So, balls are rolling away. Okay, I dropped that in already. Go. Did the link set for the straight axles get released yet? Yeah, like 2 months ago. Yes, they are on the site. Did the link set for the straight oh wait, sorry. See what happens when I did you ever get the Panhard link made for the VS4-10 chassis and axial SCX-103? Wait, yes, that's the same question. Yes, I did. They've been released. Oh, I'm dropping frames. And hopefully those frames come back soon. Drop more of these in. Okay. So, all right. Sorry, I know we dropped frames there for a little bit. The answering the question on the SCX-103 axle link sets for the VS4-10 chassis. Yes, they did get released quite a while ago. So. All right. When does the biometric screening part of this live stream start? Thanks. Thanks, Andrew. Yes. If anybody's wondering, my blood pressure's still high. Thanks for the concern. All right, let's do the other lower. The rod ends spin on so smooth, it just takes longer to build the actual link. When did, let's see. Had an amazing time, can't wait for next year. I have to look at what that was referring to. Hey Josh, if I were to build a Sherpa with the VS4-10 Ultra axles, would the VS4-10 Pro links work? Does the Sherpa use like, I don't know what the link geometry is on the Sherpa, like if it uses standard SCX 10 based skid plate link geometry or what. So I can't tell you that without without knowing what the skid plate is really. That's that's the other. I know the link geometry on the axles, just not on the other end. At least you aren't getting a colonoscopy. True story. Oh, the the friends we share the internet with. When I check my blood pressure, it just shows an airplane. I don't have like, I'm in general fairly healthy. So anytime something like starts to be different, weird, I'm like, what's going on? Just got to start telling Nicole how much to sell my RCs for if I die. Like, here's my life insurance policy. She better have a live stream auction. Come on, get in there. There we go. I got it. Okay. 23 minutes in, we've got the rear four links done. That's reasonable. Okay. Blue. Got some thread lock. Some thread lock on there. But so, and now the one thing is that I do like to put the adjustment screw on the, well, I say on the same side, but I can probably adjust that depending on where they go in the car. I just want to have access to that screw, and I see that that's blocked, of course, by the second view. But like for the upper, I want this one to be accessible likely from the inside, but the bottom one, or the rear part, probably from the bottom. So I'll note and adjust accordingly as we install. So let's pull some links off. There's 50K in links on the table. They're not that expensive. I mean, they're expensive. It's expensive to do a full car, I agree. But I'm just impressed that my freaking overhead camera is working today. I'm going to use the crap out of it. So I do have the, since I've got a portal rear, standard axle front, I've got the, and I've got like 90 millimeter ish shocks on here. I've got them, the shocks in the rear mounted to the lower link hole rather than to the shock mounting hole. And as an FYI, I do have to take that. We're going to pop all these off. that. Part number for the Vanquish rod ends that will work with the Rift. The Rift. Well, we don't make any of that size yet. Hopefully that is something that we can get to. They're fairly complicated parts, and since I am the one programming that machine now, maybe a little while. Right, uppers are out. I made it. Had a stinker of a day back home and watching live. Well, man, it's only, well, I don't know what part of the world you're in, but it's awfully early to be having a bad day already. But hopefully it only improves from there if that's the case. So, now, you can see I've got an extra link set up on this this rear axle, and I'll show you that close up again. Like, I've done a video specifically on converting a truck to a portal axle rear and solid axle front and what you have to do. So I'm not going to go in like crazy detail about it, but I'll show you guys again in case you haven't seen that video, which how dare you. But so to run a standard axle in the front and a portal in the rear, you have to reverse the gear set or the rotation of the gear set in one of the two axles because you have a 2-gear setup in the portal. So if one gear goes one way, the other goes the opposite. So now you've reversed the rotation. You need to counteract that somewhere else. So what I have done is taken the third member and I take it off. I cut off the upper link mounts, which I did such a good job until I just nicked it right there. But I cut off the upper links, kind of get those smoothed off. But then you need a place to actually mount the upper links. So I take the F9 servo mount and I flip it. Well, I don't flip it, but you do have to do a little bit of clearancing on the third member as well to get it to fit correctly. But I do that and I cut off the actual like servo mount portion and just shave it down into what becomes simply an upper link mount. So normally I take and I cut these into 2 separate pieces and then shape them down. But for this one, I was like, I'm going to see if I can leave it solid and see how that goes. There you go. Oh, knee, how much angle offset will those rod ends handle? Are they suitable to replace plastic ends that are factory bent? No, they're going to have the same amount of rotation as basically a standard plastic. So I don't know that you're going to see additional ability from that compared to a bent one. Bent ones usually have pretty significant bends to them, so. Anyway, so all right, we got this. Now we're going to grab the links we built, which here's one. These, I believe, are our uppers. That is correct. So we'll get those bolted back into these guys. And again, like I said, I'm going to make sure that I note where I'm placing these so that I have access to them to adjust tension in the future. Oh, and I'm working outside of camera view like a professional. Whatever happened to Suits Painting? He has a hot name. So Suits, I believe he kind of posted a little bit about it, but he ended up getting COVID in 2020, and then he was having some bad reaction to paint, and it really affected him. So I think he's finally being able to get back to it a little bit, but he had a real rough time. So, and he sold, he was selling his house and then moving to a new house, and I think it all kind of hit him at the just worst possible time, which there's never a good time to be sick, but that's too bad. So, all right. now that he's I from what I understand, he's getting back into some painting, and um, so we'll touch base, and either the we'll get the 50K done there, or if you know what, if he's not feeling up to it, we'll have a new painter do the 50K, and then that will be all done. But you know, I just more than anything, I hope everybody's healthy, right? Okay, so our upper links are on. Position is set. So we got that. We're going to, and I'm gonna make sure that okay, be all right there. Now, one thing I am a little worried about is I need to make sure I've got enough clearance on this upper link. So that is one thing, is that when you're using metal rod ends, like if you were having any interference with plastic, you probably just would have pressed them and it would have just bent, and you probably wouldn't have noticed that you were having some clearance issues. But with this one, I'm starting to notice already that when I try and get all the angle that I need, uh, I was actually rubbing already. So that may be something I want to address to make sure that this thing flexes as smooth as possible. But you learn something every day. So I may do that. I may actually just leave this axle off and move to the front, because I want this to be, especially with putting that much money and links in, like, be good to make sure that those are right. So now the rear lowers I'm going to put in at least already. Oh, I'm not going to attach them to the axle, but I want to get them placed on the car, get them out of my way. I just did my round of being sick. Yeah, Nicole and I both were sick recently as well. But getting back to everything. What are we working on? Sorry, I'm a bit late. This is a VS4-10 Ultra Pro, kind of. It was a VS4-10 Ultra originally. I had then converted it to a solid axle front, straight axle front with a portal rear, like my Pro. And now today we're installing the Vanquish titanium, well, they're Incision titanium links for the VS4-10 Ultra, and we're also installing the Vanquish machined aluminum rod ends. So these have been out for a while. I know a lot of people haven't seen them though, so it seemed like a fun thing to do today, since I was thinking I wanted to do them on this truck anyway. But let's pull the front off and start with that, and then we may actually end up having time to do the axe system. Oops. You do have two different wheel nuts on this now, though. 5mm and a 4mm, or 7 and an 8mm driver. Leave the wheel nuts in there. Is this the most expensive item under the Incision lineup? Is that the case? That's a great question. I think it might be. It may actually be something I did not think of. What does the 50K look like now? We've been waiting a while. I haven't shown it. I've got it kind of hidden. So I cut up a lot of the tubing that I did on the back of it. I wasn't loving it after that. So I was just like, eh. So I cut up the tubing, redid a bunch of the tube work, and then I did a bunch of carbon fiber parts as well. I did a winch servo mount. I did some, what else did I do? Where's that? There it is. Um, oh, that's right. I did the, so I did a big like front electronics tray, winch servo plate, all kind of in one up there, which I really ended up liking. And then after I did the flatbed in the flat rail truck, if you guys remember that, I like cut some ABS plastic to make it look like the bed lining of or the bed ribs kind of a real truck. So I decided to do that on this one too. That came out really well. So I just did a bunch of like, since I had time, I was just like, I'm going to do this and that. And I'm actually super happy with how that stuff turned out. It looks, I mean, I really like it. I'm going to send it to whoever wins and then attempt to buy it back from them. Like I will send, no matter what, they have to have the truck in hand first. Like you have the truck now. You can send it back if you accept my offer. Should have got the power driver out for that one. Hey, Brian Sherwood, thank you very much. Send me a set of for independent review. They've been out for a year, Brian. Why are the Link Incision and not Vanquish, especially being titanium? Wouldn't they be your top branded offer? Steve, so that was a kind of something we went back and forth with. The problem is that we couldn't get titanium in the US that was going to make basically a viable part as far as like with the price and all that. So we ended up having them made overseas. And in general, if we have things done overseas, we would rather have them listed as incision for the most part. So if we would have made those links in the US, then I would have said that they would have been Vanquish for sure. Especially since we did, Vanquish titanium links in the past, but we usually are. And now I'm not saying that we don't have some Vanquish items. VS4-10 has parts that are made overseas. The whole truck isn't, but has parts that are. So, it's just it's a tricky thing, and sometimes we have to make those decisions. But it was one that we made on this item. So. Pull a shock out. Actually, I'm gonna leave the lowers. The lowers are easy. So, or the uppers are easy. The lowers are more difficult. I don't think that'll. The truck is basically done. It's as far as like being at 50K or 60K. The truck is basically done. It's just the body paint. And if Suits ends up being just kind of a little busy or just not having the time, I'll have Moose Jaw paint it, and we'll be done. Because the rest of it, I'm just stoked on. I think it turned out great. Oh, and steering linkage. Matt will give away his 50K truck first. He might, but it's just a TRX4. I mean, it's a great truck, Matt, but I'm not mad about it or upset. One person is going to win it, not everybody. So whoever gets it is going to get the best truck that I want it to be. So I'm okay with that. I'd rather it be exactly what I want than, oh, dang it. I didn't tighten that when I put that on. So I'd rather have the truck be exactly what I want than just give it away. And it doesn't bother me. Even if it bothers somebody else. I truly don't care. Because I just want it to be cool. Cool is the most important thing to me. So let's build front uppers and lowers. And this is a panhard, I believe. Yep, that's a panhard link. So we've got 2 lowers, 1 upper. I started the 3D printing the push mower. Nice. that. Let's see. Can it be here without, wait, what? It's, it's Schrodinger's truck. The 50K truck both exists and doesn't exist. I accept. Does it really exist before it's been. Shoot. All right. That. Cool that you and Matt had Rich on as a guest the other day. He surely has some awesome stories. Matt, Rich, and I talk pretty regularly on, you know, private messaging. We have a little group chat, so he's Rich is fun. It's fun, you know. A lot of times we can talk about our industry gripe of the day or personality gripe of the day that we run into. It's you know, it's always fun. And it's fun to have friends who work in it as well. I need to spin that one around. Come on. There we go. Got it. So, what tools are you using? These are Vanquish tools. So, there you go. Whoa, Alex Leach. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say thank you. I was really taken with your charity work events, especially for autism. Inspired to do a charity build myself, which just sold last weekend. Thanks again and keep it. Wow, that's awesome. Hopefully, you raised what you were hoping to. I've got a grasshopper that we're finishing up here. Then we're gonna auction that one off, and then I'll match it up to a certain amount. So just in case someone who has the has much more ability than I to to donate would also, but the it's a grasshopper that we did as a mystery build that Brian Sherwood had sent. It was fun, and I had actually bought a grasshopper as well that I was going to build, which it had made it even a little bit more funny. So I think what I'm going to do with that is we're going to auction that off as a giveaway, and then I think I will send them both grasshoppers because I was just going to build the grasshopper for the build experience. I don't need another grasshopper, or I guess I don't necessarily think I need a grasshopper myself at this point. And there we go. So I'm just getting it aligned. Everyone, half of them drop in exactly where you need, and then the other ones are are opposite. So, which charity did you do it for though, or did I miss it? Josh is the same only members only that requires a serial number to join. That's very funny. And all right, we're tighten this down. I had a good chuckle when a couple of the viewers tried to call Rich out the Rift. All he did is look at his shoes. So I didn't. Well, the Rift actually wasn't Rich's project, but you know, honestly, it's like I feel for them when things like that happen at times too. It's just especially because how things can be tested one way and then just totally be not as not as tested once you get the actual production versions, and that is such an absolute just gut punch. So I feel bad for them, even though it's not his project. But it's like you're gonna get, you know, even when I have not been in the RC industry as long as Rich by any means, but have had situations similar to that in my short time here. So, as far as like working in the RC industry, not just being in the RC industry. So, like the stress of things. I mean, it's like there's never really a toy car emergency, but it's my job as well. So, okay, got it. Josh, why do you prefer the 2106 GF over, say, the R304 SBE, which has no antenna to worry about? So I prefer the laydown style of the 2106 GF. We're talking about Futaba receivers for anybody who's just like has no idea what we're mumbling about. This right here is the 2106 GF Futaba receiver. Super short antenna, so it's hardly anything to worry about. It's a laydown version, so that goes in the ends, which I find to be just nice and lays flat. And also, it's got 6 slots, so if you have, it's not doesn't make it a 6-channel receiver for a 4-channel radio. It just makes it, it gives you, 2 extra slots to plug in anything you want, and shoot. And it's the cheapest receiver that Futaba sells that has at least 4 channels. So it's just a win-win. So that's why I like it. It's like a retail on that receiver's $30. And I mean, for a 4-channel receiver, like that's a deal. Joe Dirt voice. So that is exactly why I prefer that one. Beyond that, there's no function about it that I actually like, or prefer. But the shorty antenna I do like. I've never had an issue as far as range goes with a crawler, and I'm not going to put it in my limitless, but my grabbing, there's the other lower. And make sure we're installing these properly. Perfect. Sometimes you just got to give them a little tap. Should I have to reverse my throttle on an SCX10 too? It depends on the orientation of your transmission. One transmission from an SCX10 is not necessarily, like if you have the SCX10-2 kit version versus the 3-gear, it's going to be different. Or if you have the transmission oriented in the opposite way, then it'll be, reversed. It really doesn't matter. Like reversing doesn't really matter. Also, there isn't a standard orientation to radios. So you can have one setup with a spectrum and then you throw a Futaba in there and you have to reverse it because radios use what's called pulse width modulation. That's what the signal is that they send to the receiver. And the orientation of the pulse width isn't standard, like this means forward, this means the other way, or this means left, this means right. It's just whichever way they choose. So then you so you just have to set it up whatever the car wants or needs. Beyond that, it doesn't matter. It just means 100% forward or 100% in one direction or 100% in the other. All right, we've got the upper 3 link to do next. And then we move on to the steering links. So, but yeah, so worrying about if you're reversed or not, never a big deal. Like, even if a new car came like reversed out of the box, like, okay, doesn't matter. It's not wrong. And getting faster and faster at these. What are your thoughts on the Endura brand? They're knockoffs and they're terrible for the industry and something I will never support. There you go. Buying anything from them is bad for the hobby. Period. Sorry, but what are you doing with the dentist pick looking tool? I will show you. So if you're just joining and didn't see what I'm doing or what these links are, then that may make much less sense to you. This one's fighting me slightly, but pull that set screw end. There we go. Got it. So we got that. All right, I'll show you guys a little close up of these rod ends again for anybody who didn't catch it earlier. So these are the Vanquish machined aluminum rod ends, which looks like a regular rod end. But a lot of times machined rod ends, like, or, you know, ones, they have huge problems. Normally that ball that sits in there is pressed in on aluminum rod ends. And if you ever run into those, like, you know, typical ones you'll see on like some of the less expensive link kits from overseas specifically, these will basically come loose and then the link is kind of useless. So so the reason what we did here is we made these a rebuildable and a tunable. So you have this rod end, which you just put the ball in there, and obviously you can see it's not retained at all. If I take this and flip it over, it just falls out. So if I put that back in, we have this tiny little brass piece here. Now on one end of this, it has a cupped side, which matches the radius of the pivot ball. So it slides in from the back side of the link shaft, like this. And it drops all the way down. And then you take a set screw, and there's a hole here on the top side or bottom side of the rod end, depending on how you want to call the orientation. And what that does is on the back side of that same brass piece, there's this cammed cut. It's kind of a weird angle. And so as the set screw goes down into it, it starts to hit that cam, and that cam is at an angle. So as it goes, it starts to twist and move forward towards the link ball. And that's what puts pressure against the pivot ball. So you can adjust the amount of tension that you have, and it keeps the link ball retained. So once we've got that in there, I put a small amount of Loctite on that set screw, but now we do that, and so I'll show you a little bit. Like at this point, if I back this screw off, that, would you see that, an eighth of a turn or quarter of a turn, you can see how that pivot ball is just super, super loose and floppy, right? Now, that would actually be fine for operation, but you can take and put that in there, and now let's just give it a eighth of a turn. Could have done a little bit more. And now if I hold that same thing, it doesn't really move. It still moves because it's just brass, but you're pretty good. So you can give it a little bit more. I like to set them up just a little bit tight, and then they break in a little bit, and you're good to go. So yeah. Costly zip bags, but just cuts it in half. Maybe regular bags would bring your parts line down. No, these are actually, so the reason we go to these is because these are less expensive than a regular poly bag and a printed header card. So we went to this to make things less expensive. So little things, and it also helps reduce shipping costs because these are just easier to fold, and they go in a box easier than a more like a cardstock header card. So this is for one, they look good, but they're cheaper than anything else. Especially once you start adding, like these are things that I look at all day. Uh, So that's no, that's all part of it. While they look very good, they're less expensive. All right. So we've got a few more to do still, and then we'll be ready to go. So I got 3-gear transmission. Will not buy from. So I mean, even if they end up, like if Endura ends up making a product that is reasonable or works fine, like the reason that they are bad for the industry is that, for one, their costs are usually dependent on the fact that they don't have dealers, they don't have anything like that, so they don't they don't support any of the hobby shops or anything like that. They undercut them through Amazon, and then they also are just stealing designs. Like they're stealing designs is it. Like the only reason that those designs exist is because they were done by companies that had to come up with it the first time. Like, will Vanquish tools go back in stock soon? I'd have to check. I don't know the current status of them, actually. Last week or so, I have not been on that side since I've been working on the lathe stuff this last week or two. Finally got the Tamiya M08 Concept Escort body build. I bought that, or I ordered that Escort MK2, Mark II, whatever you want to call it, a while ago. I have not seen mine. Oh, come on. We're getting there. Not gonna lie, these things are a little bit tedious to set up, but That's the point. Looking good. I wish the R34 TTO2 was back in stock, or even the SR15. I did not know that they made either of those. So we are going to make sure we put the drag link one to the outside, because otherwise you'll never get to that. I guess maybe if you rotated it down. Rod ends made specifically for one vehicle, or one size fits all. These are made the exact same size as basically the stock incision links, which are just like, they're the same size basically as like a Traxxas Revo link, roughly. The length is the same. The actual diameter is a little bit different in some areas, but so a little bit different there. Did you and Nicole get your breakfast waffle cones? We did yesterday, and I'm pretty sure that she says we are going today after this stream as well. So that. And Matt put them on his mini me. I think he found some off of Alibaba that were some unknown. What trash is this? Right. Thanks, Mike J. Thanks for joining in. Okay. And what do we got left? We still have the drag link and pan hard. And then be able to, what are we at? We're at 11 o'clock. So we might actually have time to pull or put the axe combo. Which one is this? This is the axe 2300 kV system. So that will be the, that's not the R2. That is the original axe system. I've had it here for a while. All right. One last pair. And go. Get these last two on there. I don't really care if it's, I still don't like building links, even with these. Like, I don't know that this is a better or worse experience, really, just because, like, it's still tedious in its own way, even though it's totally different. There we go. I'm looking forward to the Flex Seal truck next Friday. Yeah, that is going to be a real interesting. I looked at it for only a second when Phoenix showed it to me. So I haven't really got a great chance to look through the truck totally yet. So I'll get him I got to get him a return label still so he can ship it up here. But once it gets here, I'll probably just open it on the stream rather than take much of a closer look beforehand. It's going to be, I just can't think of why somebody would take and flex seal the entire axles like that. It honestly, it's mind. And when you see it, like I said, I only looked at it for maybe a few minutes, and it was just like, wow, I it just blew me away. I'm trying a Fusion for my first time so far. I like it. Uh, the Fusion, I mean, in gent, like I've said before, I love the convenience of the Fusion. Um, Being that it only came in an 1800, like that was my biggest like for me. I just can't see it, you know, fitting my use case. But that's we'll see. Undercoating, yes, exactly. Like, he went to the dealership and got the undercoating option. It's it's unbelievable. Like you can't. There's so much on it. You can't see any of the detail on the axles. Like it's just all. It's like a rounded blob. I just. I There's got to be a 16th of an inch of flex seal on the bottom, or not on the bottom, on the whole thing. Maybe thought to make it slide better. Like, I mean, I can't underestimate any thought. Like, or I won't underestimate any possibility. But it's like it's a rubberized coating. Like, like how do you how how what were you thinking? If you think Flex Seal is bad, had a customer put Vaseline all over his slash to waterproof it. But that might actually work in a lot of ways. Well, you wanted black axles, but only have Flex Seal on hand. Like, oh, God, man, crazy. So, all right, we're going to have one up, one. I probably have to have I opposing on that so I can get to both of them. Those rod ends look painful to assemble. The where they are a bit tedious. That is 100% true. However, where they are a pain to assemble, they make up for in actually installing them onto the link. Because they're a breeze. They just spin on, just shoo, and it's just like you don't need any of the link tools. It's just a pleasure. I mean, and honestly, I think that the bit of tediousness of this part is offset in the awkwardness of installing the actual link on. Grim Jur, thank you much. Watching you build like a mini seminar. Thanks for the channel. Yes, all of the things. My my stupid little soapbox, right? Fun fact about Vaseline, the inventor ate a spoonful every day before because he believed it was a cure-all. Hey, you know what? If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will. So, Flex Seal for when the black kit is out of stock. Holy crap, you could be right. Any new Stepcraft projects slated? Man, Ben, I have so many. Actually, yes, for this project, because of this body being so heavy, I want to design up some quick fixturing to be able to bolt this into the Stepcraft bed. And then with the headache rack taken off, I want to come in and mill out this entire back floor. And then it's fine. Cut a carbon fiber piece that will come in from the bottom, and I'll also pre-drill spots around it to bolt it in place, probably with like maybe scale hardware. It'll be from the bottom so that any forces on the body will actually still be in a decent way. But this bed is this thing weighs like a hard body just because of how much plastic is in this freaking bed. So I think I could take out a significant amount by going to carbon fiber, and it'll look interesting. And I have a CNC, so why not? So but no, back to the fusion setup. like I said, I can't say enough how much I like the form factor, all in one deal about it. Like that is one of my just favorite aspects of that thing. On the flip side, it's pretty low on power. I think that it's only 60 amps. And even in that gatekeeper that I was running mine in, it just seemed a bit neutered. Um, and that's honestly been my problem with all of the Hobby Wing systems, as far as the Axe or the um, is like compared to this RX4 and Tekin motor, it just doesn't have the balls compared to it, or a Castle system in a Holmes motor. Like I just I don't know. That's my biggest problem with those systems is that I they're smooth. They are super smooth, but they don't have the punch or the real like low end grunt. And so, and I really like that ability to kind of like, you know, just pop the throttle and have that instant big torque. So, that has continued to be my gripe. And every time I do it and then, you know, talk to Hobbywing, they'll be like, try the new firmware. Try this new firmware. I think you'll like it feels nearly identical. The last one, and of course it's one that fights me. Scott O'Blander, thank you, sir. Maybe it was to prevent scratch. So that was my other thought is that Flex Seal, I believe, is supposed to come off kind of easily, kind of like a Plastidip. Um, so maybe it was like I want to do this to prevent scratches, or it was already really scratched, and he wanted to cover that up. I don't know. I can't wait to get the truck here and disassemble it and see, because here's the other thing. That the truck that I for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, I discussed it on the stream Friday night. I bought a VS4-10 Pro that was for sale in Phoenix, and it had it was for $550. So a steal of a price. I mean, obviously, that's why I had to buy it. $550, had a ProTech 370 TBL, which is a great servo, and it had a axe system in it. Also, a quality system. I obviously don't prefer it, but it's still a good system. Like it's a quality piece. There's nothing wrong with him if that's the type of driving you like. So I was just like, man, that seems like such a good. But just there was a note at the end of the listing that said, well, the listing said must sell today, which is always a great sign. Um, and it's like, okay, must sell today, and axles have been flex sealed. So I had Phoenix pick it up for me in Phoenix, and I got a quick peek at it when I was down there on Saturday, and it is so the flex seal on the axles is part of it, but the rest of the truck kind of matches the theme that's going on. Not that it's all been flex sealed, just a lot of things have been done in a way that makes you go, huh? Like what? Like, wait, what? Why did you do that? Like, are you okay? Do you need help? Like, somebody send help. So I'm looking forward to diving in and seeing if we can rescue this VS4-10, or if I'm going to end up basically having to part it out to get my money back out of it. Because, you know, like there's a hole drilled in the top of the transmission, um, for not even in the center, and it's too big to be for like a 3mm screw, and it's just open. And so I don't know. I'm so intrigued. All right, we're gonna put the pan hard link back on now. Let's see. I'll give you $555 right now. Oh, you see, I I'm a bit of a gambling man, and I'm up for the challenge of seeing what I can do. I appreciate a good opportunity for a real bad decision. So grease port, yeah, but I think that all of the grease would come back out of a hole this size. So, and the VFD has such a, if you wanted to grease through the top, like four little screws, and you could have access through that top shift cover. Like, so many things. Just, you guys will enjoy Friday. I'm pretty sure. If nothing else, I'm going to enjoy Friday. So the the possibilities are so good. Is the whole Jeremiah? Is the whole for gears greasing the gears? I know what you mean, and I would have thought the same. But this whole, and I'm not saying that you're wrong either, because it could be, but I'm telling you that it's so large that if that was the purpose of that hole, I would have major concerns about how much grease he was trying to pack inside of that transmission. Like, it's the size of your pinky almost. It's like if you were somehow trying to drill a body post hole, but then just kept drilling and this ended up right in the transmission. Reminds me of the guy I saw on South Padre Island painting his car on the beach with acrylic house paint. That's funny. So we've got all those new links on, and we're in good shape. So, and what else do we have? That's it. Nothing else on the front. We can put that back in. Worst case scenario, you have a, whoops. Come on. Shocks. Everything's in the way. Oh, I gotta take the old drag link and pan hard off. What was that comment? Ah, dang it. Would you do $200 picked up? Telling you, I love a good bad idea. There's nothing better. And I've seen Zerk fittings actually put in axles. Any updates on when you're going to let the blue VS4-10 go? Oh, so I put that on my website for sale yesterday, and I think I have somebody I'm currently dealing with on it. So we haven't finalized anything yet, but I did put it up for sale, like I said yesterday. So we shall see. And okay. We're getting the power driver out. Has this got the right tip? No. Worst case scenario VS4-10, 10 to 20 episode series on how to remove Flex Seal. Maybe if it's big enough for a full-size grease gun you can use in the car. Man, I wonder. Maybe you can send the video to Flex Seal. Work something out. One down. If you don't have a hole in the enclosed gearbox, it brings rocks and dirt and mess through your gear. Yeah, and this one you could get a small baby bird caught in the size of the hole that is in this transmission. You bought a VS4-10's worth of scrap. Nothing's impossible. So my other thought is I wonder if like the axles underneath had actually just been totally thrashed. Because with how much Flex Seal's on there, it makes everything look so smooth. So I'm just like, did these things just get run to death? And then he Flex Sealed them to like try and, I don't know, rejuvenate? But I don't know, man. It's an absolute hot mess. And anytime you run into a must sell today situation, you're just like, okay, you never know what you could be in for. Don't have enough angle. Should have put it on before I put that link on. Oh, and that shim that almost came off. And pat in the shot, I know. Anytime I have to really get in there. I can flip my overhead camera over on the lighting truss overhead and move it back about 4 inches, and then I could angle it forward a little. I should probably do that, but I over-engineered the clamping system a little bit. So it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 screws that I have to undo to release the clamping and flip around, clamp it back. Who'd have thought that I'd have over-engineered a camera mounting system? Okay. That in place. Panhard reattached. I've got my 2.5 ball end on here so I can that good and tight. All right, I'm missing comments. The axles are broken and now the only thing holding them together is Flex Seal. Oh, that would be fantastic. Jeremiah, if you made that call somehow, that would be ridiculous. Flex Seal after minor break in axle body is like new. Must sell today. There was much less. Here's the other like scary part about it. So I was on the plane to leave, and I PayPal'd them right before I took off. Phoenix in here, Phoenix RC Crawler, he went and picked it up for me. He got there though, and the PayPal on the guy's account showed pending. So he was like not wanting to let it go, which I kind of get. Normally that type of thing doesn't happen so fast, and he probably doesn't know me from Adam. So Phoenix watched him hit refund on it, and then he went and got cash and gave it to him. And luckily, Phoenix watched him do it. So there was, when I met Phoenix, he told me what happened. I was like, oh crap. And then I saw that yes, indeed, he did refund it. But like, kind of an extra shady step that happened in the way or in the process. Okay. Be prepared for Friday, Josh. Get out the thick skin. You over-engineered something? I don't believe you. What? 9 screws? Oh my god. Yes, Mike J. It's all right. So that's bent down. We'll probably add some tension to those rod ends to keep that from hanging down too much. And we'll be in good shape. Oh, I was gonna think, dang it, I didn't get that one set right, but I did. It was just rotated to a way that I couldn't see. Let's add a little bit more tension just to keep that in place, because we have that ability. Yeah, now it's nice. So that truck is stolen. Oh, well, okay. Ben actually knew the seller, so he had crawled with him before. Well, how much was the camera? In fact, it's almost over your head. Sounds good to overkill. The camera, not terribly expensive. It's a Sony A6000, but I bought it used. But it is on a thing that comes down overhead. Yeah. But just to be sure for that, I did do an additional safety wire because the clamping system that I have is 3D printed. So I was just like, if that does fail, I want to make sure it doesn't come down on my head. So I did put a drill in. So if it falls, it won't actually whack me in the melon. So we got all the front links on. We're in good shape. Let's pull this power system out. So we're going to remove all of these. Hey, what's up, RC Patina guy? If suits, I will definitely double check with suits, and I'll let you know. RC Addict, that Ford has 475 crawlers on it right now, so. But it felt a little big for that body. I mean, like I said in that description, I think you could trim the body if you wanted to run a big tire, but small tire on that would also probably look good. Pull off the dig linkage as well, since this has a VFD in it. And then we've got this. So for those that didn't hear, I am removing the Rock 412 3100 kV system with the RX4, and we are installing a axe combo. What? Crazy talk, I know. And thoughts about the Telon servo? Worth it? I don't know that I've ever heard of that brand. Telon? Or do you mean Tekin? Oh, you retracted your comment. Always do questionable deals in a Costco parking lot. That's an interesting. We used to when I lived in the Midwest, you'd always do questionable deals in QT parking lots because they were safe spaces. So, Axe motor first. Thoughts about the Tekin servo? Worth the money. Okay, that's what I kind of thought you meant. I run Tekin servos in a few trucks. They have never failed me. I know some people have had. I mean, any servo will fail on somebody. That's just the way that it is. They've never failed me, but they're not like crazy powerful either. So I like them, but it's just not something that I find myself picking up very often. I mean, one thing is that I think they look fantastic. So when we do photo trucks and stuff, I'm just like Tekin servos because these things look crazy good. So there we got the Axe 540. This is the 2300 kV. Fuck. I'm gonna rotate up so that everything is out of the way. Trying to make sure I can see the hole. I don't like the way that that's rotated. Okay. Got it. Close enough. Man, I said QT. Now I'm missing QT so hard. There's no gas station better than QT. No gas station has ever been created better than QT. I will fight anybody on that. You can keep your Mavericks and your AMPMs and your KCs, and nope. There's never been a better gas station than QT gas stations. Trans-American truck stops, nothing. Fight me. Any chance we could see SCX-102 vanquish shock hoops anytime soon? Can't find any same model. Yeah, so we do those in batches, and right now they're still running. But we run the first operation of those, and then we run the second operation all at once, and then you see big supplies hit all at once, and then we just repeat that process over and over and over. Pull this pinion off. Bucky's, Wawa, Bucky, Quick Trip, QT. Yes, QT is Quick Trip. Just all right. So I'm gonna pull the Bucky's is just like Walmart. Bucky's hasn't got nothing on QT. Come on. Bucky's are good. They're a top tier, but they are not the king. And it's not just the amount of options, it's the quality of them. Yes, and I agree. I don't have any QT near me anymore as well, and it's one of the things I miss the most about the Midwest. Friends, family, and QT. Jeremiah, thank you. I think he was going to flex seal the transmission, but he ran it. You know, there is definitely a can each on the axle. Or he might have used the paint. He might have just slathered it on with a brush. Come and goes? Come on. Come and goes a run-of-the-mill Toad Daddy. You know, you've got QTs around you. You can't say come and goes better. RC Addict, thanks, man. Have a good rest of the weekend as well. Where are the East Coasters to say Wawa? You know what? I will say that I don't think I've ever been to a Wawa. I didn't. So, motor is installed. Gear mesh feels great. What does that say about the Midwest? Oh, I agree. The Midwest is not great for a lot of things. Love's truck stops are good, but the quality of the items in a Love's cannot compete with Quick Trip. Telling you, it's not just the quantity, it's the quality and the speed. If you've ever been to a Quick Trip, the speed that they can get people through, like each cashier will work 2 registers, and it's just like it's just they're flying through. They're like, yep, we got you checking out. Then, but while you're paying, they're already ringing somebody else up next to them. It's amazing, so efficient. It's like the Chick-fil-A of gas stations. Casey's does have good pizza. I'm not fighting that. I will definitely agree. What about United Dairy Farmers? That's a gas station chain? I don't think that I've ever heard of that. Now, I will say that based on the fact that they haven't branched out more, I'm hedging my bets that they're not as good. Those Quick Trip with a K is better than QT? Alex, you and your hipster opinions. Just tell. Sheets. I've been to a Sheets before. All right. So we've got Axe motor tucked in. I think I'm gonna have to cut some more of those carbon fiber battery trays. I've got one set to send to Bart at Anti-Gravity anyway, and do another set for this truck, I think. Let's throw the not having a crawler. Is that trans a VS4-10 only thing, and does it have gears in it? I like the looks. So it is a VS4-10. Well, I mean, unless it's some sort of, custom type thing, but it is made for the VS4-10 chassis. It's called the VFD transmission. So it's puts the motor super far forward and super low. You can see like with the bottom of the skid plate there is right even with the shocks at full compression. Once it's extended out, then it's still tucked right up in there. But when it's at full bump, it's just everything is perfectly just in line. Motor skid protection, the whole deal. Need to swap the rod ends on the dig linkage. Tim, you're calling me out, and I mean, you're right. I don't have any extras here, but you're right. So, yeah, looking good there. Dig is all set. Man, we made way more progress today than I thought. Ever been to an Orbit gas station? Not that I recall. Nicole and I have driven so much around the country, but it's definitely not one that has come to mind. A lot of crap in that little box. Those instructions is that's a hefty instruction set that I will absolutely refuse to use. All right. Throw all that away. It's fun. Last night I was installing here's the Axe combo, and last night I was installing the XR10 Hobby Wing setup in that drift car that I got finished up last night. Why are you swapping electronics? So, this is not my truck, FYI. This truck belongs to a friend of mine, Rob, who's out of Montana, and he just doesn't like the feel of this. It's just too fast for him. He likes the just super low speed, which the axe is great for. I like the pop of these, like from a low speed to be able to just that quick pop. I love that for this type of setup. This was not his preference though, so he wanted to run an axe system. I let him borrow my Gatekeeper at one point, which had the fusion in it, and he really liked that. So I'm like, well, let's swap it out. Let's throw an axe in there, and see how he'll like it. And so he said, let's do it. So I'm pulling that out, which that'll get used again. That's what? No programming? Do these come with a programming card? I thought they're Bluetooth. This has Bluetooth in it, so you don't need a programming card. It's on your phone. You got a big color touchscreen programming card in your pocket. Hobby Wing needs better stickers. Blue and pink, really? I threw it away anyway. I don't keep stickers. I don't really ever use them either. Not very often. The only time I do is I have very specific, like if there's black and white, like then I will take and put them on the side of my toolbox, but only if they're black and white, no other colors. Love my Fusion. I liked the Fusion, just not enough. It's just so low on power. I just couldn't get on board long term. So I'll put it in something else that I don't feel like needs the power, and I'm sure it'll be a perfect setup. I might try it in like a flat rail truck. So because I've got some ideas for there. Stickers are for water bottles. I do need to get a water bottle setup. Hope nobody saw that. Like everybody. Let's throw the wheels and tires back on the front at least. I'm going to do a little bit of clearancing on that rear axle setup just to make sure everything is free as a bird. Free bird? Free. No, it's free falling. I don't know. What's free bird? Can't remember that song. The files are in the computer. What's your gas station now you're here? Man, gas stations here, they're so unexciting. AM PM's like the only one. It's the only option out here that's worth a crap, it seems. Flat rail? Did you say flat rail? It's on its way. I've got a possible flat rail plan. I find it so funny in some ways that I've got an idea that I want to build all the flat rails. All of them. Not all of them really. Like all the big ones. When I get back, I'll play some Freebird. So I have an idea for that. Oh, I forgot one screw in the bottom of the trans. Leonard Skinnerd. Put on some Skinnerd. I thought 7-Eleven was a California gas station choice. Alex, here's something that'll blow you away if you haven't really been out here too much. 7-Elevens in California are great. They are convenience stores though. They do not sell gas at 7-Elevens here. They're just like places in a strip mall that you go in and buy things and then yeah. That's not a thing in the Midwest. Are you even looking at the instructions? Definitely not. But I also helped write the instructions on this. So we got that. And we're through the big part. And we got about 15 minutes left. So I'm just gonna read your comments and put tools away for now. Even though I have to get all of these tools back out, but I'm just going to read as many comments as possible until the end of this stream. So get them in. Some do. That is true. I have seen some, but they're usually the crappier ones, the ones that you don't want to go to. We have a lot of Shell and Marathon gas stations. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean here that's even Chevrons and all that. Chevrons are okay. They're a little nicer usually. I have two combo X here, 1200 kV and a 2300 kV. 2 years, never had any problems with it. Yeah, I don't think that they're a big problem. They just don't have the power. That's the only problem. Yep, no gas station here. So you can get a lot more than food and drink from the local 7-Eleven. If you stop at the one by our shop, same is true. They actually have these things around the outside of the 7-Eleven here that just make noise to deter like either homeless or people from congregating in or like outside or behind specifically the 7-Elevens. I never heard about the 7-Eleven. Exactly. All I know is that Super America and Speedway suck. Oh, Speedway. I mean, those are truck stops, but still. Need the parts list to put Portal in the rear of VS4-10 Pro. I have a video on it, and I think I go through all of it with all of the part numbers in that. You should be able to find that on my channel. Search for Portal rear only VS4-10, something like that. There are gas stations here in the Midwest, in the Northeast, and most places in the East or East, Midwest, East. Like yeah, just out here, it's not that way. 7-Eleven is basically a quickie mart. Yeah, but those are not a thing in the Midwest. Like a quickie mart is just a big gas station. When are you going to an event or crawl in SAC? I don't know. I'll have to check when the next one is. I think the next one I have the next one actually conflicts with a wedding I have. United Dairy Farmers gas station in Ohio. Oh, dang it, that's going too fast. Sorry, I missed a bunch of comments. It jumped. Just finished my VS4-10 Pro. Just finished up the body, ready to go hit the rocks. Yes. What is the best hobby shop in your hood? RC Country is my preferred hobby shop, but Fastlane is also, or Fast Track is also a great one. We need more drive-through gas stations. That's like a thing in Oregon, right? Where they pump all they have to pump your gas. Will the RCB AR60 chassis ever be restocked? Yes, they should. So I think I'll have to check on that. But yeah, I think that's one of those things that should come soon enough. Hello from Cali. Dig the channel. Awesome builds. Thanks for joining. Speedway is a basic gas station here, and they are basic. Hobbywing 1080 ESC with 35 turn motor on 3S. Good setup. Great setup. Especially just like a all around just truck that you're just gonna be hard on. Like 1080 brushed ESC is a great just get her done. 35 turn, you know. I usually like a little bit more, like a 27 turn, but a 35 turns just throw it in and go. Just chug, go in the water, in the mud, whatever. Upgraded my Red Gen 8 axe, and first run was surprised when the R2 launched it completely over the rock. With the R120 view was fair. Interesting. I'd have to check I have not driven an R2 yet. Maybe I'll have to grab one of those. Can you show setting the pinion gear lash on a 3-gear? Do I have a 3-gear hand? I'd have to dig to find one. So sorry, I can't do that quickly right now with as much time as we have left. That's called Oregon. Isn't that what I said? Oh, probably the lag, right? The actual situation because of the virus, 7-Eleven should be renamed 7 to 8. Oregon and New Jersey, where it's illegal to pump your own gas. Yeah, it's so weird in Oregon. Pulled up to a gas station, like, hold up. Like, oh yeah. Unless you're on like Indian territory, like so you could go to like the end of the Indian gas stations. Those are usually good ones too. Casino gas stations, especially Indian casino gas stations. Like when you're on your way to Vegas or going up, those are good ones. Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Thanks for checking in. We have Gray Matter Fab. Thank you, sir. So a noob question: does a higher kV give more power or just more RPMs? Example: 2200 kV versus 1800 kV. So generally, a higher kV will also be higher power. A lot of people, the misconception is that you go lower kV for more torque. Not necessarily the case. The only reason that you can't just keep going higher kV though is because usually a motor is good for a certain RPM range only, and especially as motors start getting bigger, kV start getting, the motors start having a lot more mass. Maybe you can't get as much kV. So motor designs vary, but like if 540 motor to 540 motor, a 3100 kV is generally going to have more power than a 2300 kV. And those are things that I've only ever learned from Holmes. So Holmes has some good discussions on that. Hello from Portugal. I think that the blue ball end tool should read Sherba. So the guy who came up with this, Shane Zerba, it's Szzczerba, and he pronounces it Zerba. So, because I actually know him, he's a friend of mine. Shane Zerba, nice guy. Now, I'm not saying that the way that it's pronounced in other places wouldn't be different, but that's how that guy says it. Freddie Hammond, thank you, sir. Love my Fusion in my UMG 10 with a 3-gear trans and SCX10 3 portal. Ooh, SCX10 3 portals on a UMG. I bet that's a nice little setup. And honestly, I mean, they should release like a 10.3 with the UMG body. Like, right? They should do it. Is your flat rail chassis idea going to be a cheaper version, or is it going to be modifying your current one? No, it is good. Well, yes to the first part. My idea, which I haven't put out there yet, is going to be like a very cheap version of each one. I'll get into that later. But right now I'm having trouble sourcing part of my idea. So it's supposed to be fixed towards the end of this month as far as like the supply of what I need. So we'll see if that makes it happen. And if so, Nicole is going to kill me when I come home. Just started fresh build SCX10-2 for Axial Fest motor and ESC recommended. Fresh build. I mean, if you want something affordable, get a Hobbywing 1080 and a 27 turn, or preferably a 13 turn Crawlmaster from Holmes. Even if it's a Crawlmaster Sport, $25 motor and whatever a 1080 costs now. Under $100, you're gonna have just a super sweet little smooth setup. Then you can go anywhere from there. But that's just like my budget recommendation. That 1080 ESC and a Holmes Crawlmaster Sport 13 turn. I think the 13 turn can be difficult. I know he's got a 12 turn and he's also got like a 15 turn. I would probably go 15, but depending on what you can find. If you have diesel or a really nice car, you can do it yourself or motorcycle in orbit. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, put portals on a truck that actually has portals. I know, right? Why won't the Incision TRX4 12.3 links work with the Sport? So it is weird. Traxxas has different rod ends on the Defender and the Blazer and Bronco or whatever than they do on the TRX4 Sport. They look almost identical, but they have a different taper or pocket on the back side of them. Most bizarre thing ever. And it was something we didn't actually notice until someone did it. And they're like, these don't actually fit in there as well. I'm like, what? And I looked into it and I talked to one of my friends who works at Traxxas who designed that. And he's just like, yeah, they're different on the Sport only. Like, okay. Why? My brushless systems are always faster in reverse, no matter which way I plug my motor wires. Why? Always faster in reverse, no matter which way I plug my motor wires. Well, that's interesting. Did you recalibrate your throttle on your radio? That would be the first step. Always calibrate your throttle. Get into the programming of the ESC then, and make sure that there's not a lower lower power on the reverse. Then also you need to make sure that the timing of the motor rotation is there's no timing boost in forward, but those would be the things that I would check. Zerba sounds like a Polish name, and in Polish you read SZ as SH, sh, and CZ as ch. Just saying. And I think that he may be Polish. So I think we should tell him he's been saying his last name wrong. Because I'm guessing you're correct. Because I'm pretty sure. That's why I put CNC portals on my UMG 10 and love it. CNC portals. I don't know which ones. How will you choose which flat rail to run at Rokas Rojo? Well, I mean, that truck there is that flat rail truck that I built last. And I mean, that's the only one that's like done and kind of ready to go. And that event is going to be here before I know it. So I think that decision may be made for me. Do I need anything special for the dig servo on my VFD? Take off RTR servo work? Yes. Perfect servo. You don't need any. This is a $20 servo right here. So that's all you need. I got my 16 turn at my Capra. Love it. 16 turn Crawlmaster Sport's a great motor too. My brush systems are always faster. Wait. Oh, you said brushed. I'm sorry. Brush systems, you need to make sure that the timing on the end bell is proper. So brush motors, the end cap is turned, or if it's not, if it's like a less expensive motor, then it's got fixed timing in it and you're kind of out of luck. So you either need to get you need to get either a reverse rotation motor, or you need to adjust the timing on the end bell. And depending on the type of motor you have, you may not be able to. So, oh, sorry. Some of these are going too fast and I missed a couple. I'm working on my crawler and I was talking, I probably missed it, but what brushed setup do you, oh, I just talked about that. So any new 3-wheel builds coming? Jesse Schultz, you know what? It's amazing that you bring up that, since you're the one who sent it to me. And they're not coming yet because both of those are out of stock. So, and I can't back order from them with those two. So if so, otherwise I'm thinking I'm going to buy both of them. So what are your thoughts on the Losi Super Rock Ray? I think it's cool. I don't love the way it looks. I mean, I guess I would be all for it if it was large scale and solid axle. The Rock Rays, the Yetis, I just never really dug them. I don't know. They just never did it for me. I'm such a solid axle fan that I just want solid axles. What's up with my Vanquish wheels? One set has plastic inner rings, the other has aluminum. Depends depends on where you bought them or who you got them from. But the newer ones we went to molded, just to cuts a little rotating weight, helps keep material costs in check, so we didn't have to raise prices, stuff like that. So, do you use your life? How do you store your life batteries? I store my life batteries inside my radio. I don't do any special precautions with them. I don't storage mode or anything like that. I just run it till I need to charge it, and then charge it, and then run it again, over and over and over. I'm interested in the Castle Copperhead ESC. It looks interesting. I ordered 2 of them because I agree. It's kind of a mid-ground between the Sidewinder and the Mamba X. Less expensive, obviously. Only up to 4S, which is fine. I don't run 6S and many things. It doesn't have the auxiliary wire. Okay. It looks like a plastic case rather than the CNC case of the Mamba X. Okay. So it looks like a great option. Censored, which is solid. So yeah, I think that Copperhead's going to be great. Takeoff servos always find a use somewhere. Oh yeah, takeoff servos are great. Will Vanquish update the YouTube channel? The Vanquish channel? I mean, it's a possibility, but I just run mine, and then since I work there, it just goes on mine. And since like all my YouTube stuff is like my own investment and the stuff I spend doing in my spare time, and there's a lot of other costs that go along with it, like using music in YouTube videos. Like the music I use, I pay $50 a month to be able to use, and so it's just like, you gotta do this and run 2 channels and monitor 2 sets Like I do all this stuff in my time. So yeah, you know. How you know how to adjust the timing on a Holmes Hobbies Polar Pro V2. So that you would just, that depends mainly on your ESC. So you do your adjustments on anything in the ESC as far as your power and all of that. They're Holmes Hobbies motors. Again, so it depends if you have a fixed end bell brushed motor or a adjustable. So like the Crawlmaster Sport, Trailmaster Sport, those are fixed. Those have one, and I don't know if those have timing built in. I think that they do, but I don't know for sure. So I'd have to order like Defender or Bronco TX4 rod ends. Yeah, if that, technically you can use the sport ones and just kind of crank them down a little bit and then it'll fit, but it's just not like the perfect one like the Defender or Bronco. It's just a bizarre thing. I have no idea why Traxxas did it. What rotation is in the SCX10 to standard to reverse rotation remote? I don't remember offhand. I do not remember. Can I run my Stampede at Roka's? Sure. Hello from Germany. What's your favorite crawler and why? VS4-10 is my favorite crawler. It's my ultimate. VS4-10 Pro specifically is the one. I like the aluminum axles, the offset pumpkin, the VFD transmission. I love Scout style bodies. And it's the one I was involved with. And that's, there you go. Aux wire, huh? The Mamba X, if you're not familiar with, the Castle Mamba X has another wire that you plug into your ESC, like in channel 3. And you can program it on the Castle Link to have adjustable functions from your radio. Like you can tie it to the drag brake, so you can dial your drag brake all the way down, basically turn it off, or you can dial it up or adjust anywhere in between. You can also set it to different modes. So you have like a mode 1 for going fast while trailing, and then mode 2 will put it into crawler mode. Some cool stuff like that. Hi from Barcelona, late to the party like always. Yes, we're about to wrap this up. We're actually a few minutes over. Suggestions for a good LCG chassis for a TRX4 Sport without having to change too much. I think the only option without having to change too much is the Brazen ATL all-time low for the TRX4, because that will allow you to use the transmission, the axles, shocks, stuff like that. And then but you're still gonna have to figure out a number of other little hurdles. So have you ever used the D-Links Delrin links? I have not used that brand, but we used to use Delrin links back in the day. And it's not something I would ever use again. Delrin links they're not that rigid. They have a lot of flex and movement to them. So it's not something that I would ever use again. I think metal links are imperative, and it's really the only way that I will consider running. If you had a Delrin sleeve, like I could see it. So love Scouts, but what about Red Cat? I like Scouts. I don't like Scout 2s. I think Scout 2s are terribly ugly. Scout 80s, Scout 800s only. I know. I've never liked Scout 2s. Don't like them. So anyway, that is going to do it. I am out of time. So appreciate all of you guys joining in on this Sunday. I hope you have an awesome start to your week. We'll see you Tuesday for the Scale News. You guys are great. Appreciate it. Thanks for all the interaction today. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for everybody who donated. Much appreciated. And we will see you, again, Scale News, Wednesday takeover, Friday live stream. Come back for some Flex Seal action. Later.